There are all sorts of issues and circumstances there, but...
There are all sorts of issues and circumstances there, but you know, we've all been through there. We've all had that same spotlight shone on our lives. We've been subjected to massive intrusion and all the rest of it, and we all deal with it in different ways. Tensions have risen within the monarchy after Prince Edward left Buckingham Palace following what insiders are calling an outrageous betrayal by King Charles. What really happened behind that prompted this decision? The answers could reshape the public's view of the monarchy. Join us as we dive into the details of the events that led to Prince Edward's sudden departure. The odd one out, Prince Edward, the youngest son of Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip, has always been a distinctive figure in the British royal family. Born on March 10, 1964, in the grandeur of Buckingham Palace, Edward was raised amidst the immense public attention that naturally accompanied his royal status. However, unlike his elder brothers, King Charles III and Prince Andrew, Edward chose to carve a quieter path, embracing roles that often veered away from royal conventions and expectations. Edward's early years reflected his desire to explore life beyond the traditional royal framework. After completing his education at Cambridge University with a degree in history, he turned to the arts and media instead of the military traditions followed by his family. His passion for creativity led him to a brief stint at Andrew Lloyd Webber's acclaimed theatre company. Inspired by this experience, he founded his own production company, Ardent Productions, in 1993. While the company faced criticism for its management and content, it served as a platform for Edward to showcase his ambition and creativity. His ventures demonstrated his willingness to step outside the shadow of royal expectations and build an independent identity. In 1999, Edward married Sophie Rhys-Jones, a union that added a new dimension to his life and royal duties. Their first public appearance as a married couple captured their genuine connection and mutual support. Over time, they emerged as a steadfast pair within the royal family, taking on numerous responsibilities and engaging in public service. Edward initially assumed the title of Earl of Wessex and later succeeded his father as Duke of Edinburgh after Prince Philip's passing. Despite his increasing responsibilities, Edward's demeanor remained understated, contrasting with the headline-making actions of other royals. Edward's journey, however, has not been without its surprises. In a move that reflected his independent spirit, he recently announced his decision to step back from Buckingham Palace, signaling another significant shift in his royal path. This decision echoed a pattern in Edward's life of challenging traditions and forging his own path. One of the most defining moments of Edward's early life occurred when he decided to step away from a potential military career in the Royal Marines. At the age of 22, Edward embarked on the rigorous year-long officer training course in hopes of earning the coveted Green Beret. This training represented Britain's elite military unit and required immense physical and mental strength. Despite completing 4 challenging months, Edward concluded that the military was not aligned with his long-term aspirations. The decision to resign was not made lightly. It followed a weekend summit at the royal family's Sandringham estate, where Edward presented his case to his family. This difficult conversation involved Queen Elizabeth II, Prince Philip, and his elder brothers, Prince Charles and Prince Andrew, along with Princess Diana. Edward explained that continuing in a career he disliked would leave him feeling trapped, a sentiment that reflected his commitment to personal authenticity. Despite facing resistance and disappointment from his family, particularly from Prince Philip, who held the honorary title of Captain General of the Marines, Edward stood firm in his decision. Shortly after the meeting, Edward returned to his training base at Lymstone in southwestern England, where he formally handed in his resignation and uniform to his commanding officer. Buckingham Palace later confirmed his decision, noting that it was made after much deliberation and with significant regret. The announcement emphasized that no immediate plans for Edward's future were forthcoming. This decision marked a departure from the royal family's deep-rooted military tradition. Both Edward's father and brothers held commissions in the Royal Navy, and his resignation was seen by some as a rejection of this legacy. However, it showed Edward's determination to pursue a path aligned with his personal values rather than adhering to expectations. The struggles of Prince Edward became a widely discussed topic when newspapers in London brought his challenges to public attention just a week before his resignation. During this period, a public poll revealed that many in Britain felt Edward should have the freedom to choose his own path if that was his desire. This response reflected a growing wave of support for the younger generation of royals seeking to assert their independence. For Edward, the reasons behind his decision to step away from tradition were deeply personal and rooted in his quest for fulfillment. Edward's passion for the arts, particularly theatre, presented a sharp contrast to the strict discipline of military life. Reports hinted at his aspiration to carve a career in the entertainment industry, a pursuit that clashed with the expectations imposed by his royal heritage. The immense pressure from his family, combined with the disapproval of his unconventional ambitions, created a significant challenge. However, Edward's determination to prioritize his happiness and dreams over the weight of tradition illustrated a remarkable strength of character. This decision prompted debates. Some critics perceived his actions as a sign of weakness, while others admired his boldness in defying expectations. Ultimately, Edward's ability to stand firm and choose a path true to his desires resonated with those who value authenticity over adherence to convention. This departure ignited widespread speculation about his motivations and what his decision signified. Buckingham Palace, the historic symbol of royal authority and continuity, has long been the heart of the monarchy. Edward's choice to leave its confines added a layer of significance to his actions. Reports indicated that he and his wife, Sophie, were preparing to shift their focus to their residence at Bagshot Park in Surrey. This move was seen as part of a broader transformation within the royal family, aligning with King Charles III's efforts to streamline the monarchy and modernize its role. By stepping away, Edward may have aimed to support the king's vision, while simultaneously creating a more family-centered lifestyle. His departure from Buckingham Palace outlined the evolving dynamics of royal responsibilities and the ongoing tension between public duty and personal desires. It mirrored the choices of other royals, such as Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, who redefined their roles within the royal institution. Unlike Harry and Meghan's dramatic exit, Edward's transition appeared more subdued, marked by a quiet shift rather than a complete departure from royal life. Edward remained steadfast in his commitment to his royal duties, including his work with the Duke of Edinburgh's award and his numerous patronages. His decision symbolized the monarchy's subtle but impactful attempts to adapt to contemporary societal expectations while honoring the individuality of its members. As Edward embarked on this new chapter, many speculated about the implications of his departure for the monarchy and his own legacy. By focusing on his family and charitable endeavors, Edward demonstrated values of dedication and service that had been instilled in him by Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip. Yet it is natural to wonder what drives someone to leave behind the grandeur and responsibilities that Buckingham Palace represents. The relentless criticism, constant pressure, and limited freedom that come with being a royal can feel suffocating for someone yearning to live a life of their own choosing. Stepping away from Buckingham Palace might have seemed like the only viable option for Edward. Attempting to navigate a life outside the royal framework invited unending scrutiny. Every misstep was magnified, and neither his family nor the public ever seemed to let him forget his obligations. Coupled with the media's relentless focus and tensions within the royal family, the rigid expectations of royal life likely became overwhelming. Edward's exploration of a career in the entertainment industry added another layer to his unusual journey. Drawn to the allure of show business, he was captivated by the imaginative and creative world of theatre. This realm, brimming with fantasy and spectacle, was different from the regimented existence of royal life. His attempt to establish himself in this vibrant industry demonstrated a boldness that few within his position had dared to emulate. But the journey was fraught with challenges, as Edward sought to balance his ambitions with the weight of family expectations and public perception. Edward's decision to prioritize personal fulfillment and family over the norm echoes as a demonstration of individuality and courage in the face of enduring societal and family expectations. As he stepped into this new phase, the world watched closely to see how he would define his legacy beyond the palace walls. What happens next? The departure. Edward's journey into the world of entertainment was an ambitious but chaotic chapter in his life, marked by aspirations, controversy, and relentless scrutiny. During his time at Cambridge, his participation in school plays displayed his creative inclinations and will to carve a unique path. By 1987, Edward took his first major step into the spotlight by producing the Grand Knockout Tournament, a charity event that became a cultural debacle. Despite its good intentions, critics disparaged it as a humiliating episode for the royal family. But despite the ridicule, Edward refused to retreat from his dreams. Uninitiated by early setbacks, Edward sought opportunities beyond the traditional royal framework. Joining Andrew Lloyd Webber's Really Useful group, he explored the theatrical landscape with enthusiasm. Then, in 1990, he co-founded a production company, a bold move that highlighted his entrepreneurial zeal. Unfortunately, the venture collapsed within a year, leaving behind a staggering £600,000 debt. In 1993, he embarked on his most ambitious project yet, Ardent Productions, a company he envisioned as a beacon of creativity and innovation. Aiming to produce high-quality arts, drama, and documentaries for British television, Edward positioned himself as a serious media professional, downplaying his royal status by branding himself simply as Edward Windsor, Joint Managing Director. His deliberate choice to avoid royal-themed programming emphasized his desire to be judged on merit rather than lineage. Still, skepticism from the entertainment industry was inevitable. Many saw him as a privileged prince dabbling in production, and jealousy within the field added to his challenges. Even within his family, doubts lingered. Prince Philip reportedly questioned Edward's pursuits, expressing concerns that his ventures might tarnish the family's image. The initial years of Ardent Productions were not as expected. The company's first project, Real Tennis, a niche documentary on an aristocratic sport, failed to capture public interest, drawing a mere 8,000 viewers. Its subsequent production, Annie's Bar, a political satire, was met with harsh criticism and cancelled after a single season, being dismissed as substandard. Financial losses and public skepticism increased, prompting Edward to reassess his strategy. In 1996, he took a personal gamble by hosting Edward on Edward, a documentary exploring the life of his great-uncle Edward VII. While the program lacked depth and originality, it fared better than expected in terms of viewership. This modest success, however, came at a cost. By leveraging his royal connections to secure exclusive content, Edward faced accusations of hypocrisy. Industry professionals resented the advantages his lineage afforded him, while journalists criticized his apparent shift from distancing himself from his royal ties to embracing them for commercial gain. Meanwhile, external pressures weighed heavily on Edward and his family. His wife, Sophie, encountered her own share of controversies, including being duped by an undercover journalist in 2001. The fallout from these incidents resulted in stricter guidelines for working royals engaging in commercial activities. Ardent Productions found itself under intense scrutiny, particularly in 2000, when it began producing Royalty AZ, a series examining the Windsor family's history. This project touched on sensitive recent events, angering senior royals, especially Prince Charles. Tensions escalated when it was revealed that Ardent had filmed near Prince William during his time at St. Andrews, an intrusion that reportedly provoked a furious response from Charles. Public criticism of Ardent reached a boiling point, with the company dismissed as a vanity project and a symbol of unfulfilled ambition. By 2002, the mounting controversies and financial challenges became overwhelming. Edward stepped down from the company, citing the Queen's Golden Jubilee and increasing royal duties as reasons for his departure. Although Ardent struggled on for a few more years, it was eventually liquidated in 2009 and formally dissolved in 2011, leaving little behind but a fraction of its initial aspirations. Despite the ultimate failure of his media endeavors, Edward and Sophie gradually transitioned into their roles as full-time working royals. Over time, they earned respect for their commitment to their duties and their ability to navigate the complexities of royal life. In the years following Queen Elizabeth II's passing, as the royal family faced further disruption with the departure of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, Edward's experiences offered a clear reflection on the challenges of balancing personal ambition with the expectations of royal identity. His journey highlighted the delicate character required to honor tradition while pursuing individuality, a struggle that continues to resonate within the modern monarchy. Let's take a look at the factors that shaped Edward's life while growing up. Edward's childhood, as the youngest of the Queen's 4 children, unfolded within a world of extraordinary privilege and rigid structure. Nestled in the affluence of royal life, his childhood was a careful balance of strict protocol and genuine familial warmth. The sprawling palace, both a residence and the official seat of the monarchy, served as a backdrop for a life steeped in ceremonial grandeur and rigorous discipline. Edward, along with his siblings Charles, Anne, and Andrew, was cared for by a network of well-trained nannies and staff. Somewhere between this formality, their parents, Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip, carved out cherished moments for family bonding. Despite their demanding royal schedules, they gathered in the palace's private quarters for shared meals and intimate evening conversations, ensuring their children felt both loved and guided. Edward's early life was a blend of majestic spectacle and childhood simplicity. State visits and formal events filled his days, yet he also found time to play freely in the palace's expansive gardens. This collision of ceremonial duties and personal exploration laid the foundation for his unique character. Encouraged by his family, Edward developed an early appreciation for academics and the arts. He began his education with private tutors before attending Gordonstoun School in Scotland, following the educational path of his father and elder brother. It was during these formative years that his passion for drama and theatre first emerged, eventually becoming a defining aspect of his personality. While his siblings pursued traditional royal roles, Edward's life took a distinctive turn. After earning a history degree at Cambridge University, he explored creative avenues alongside his royal responsibilities. His brief tenure with the Andrew Lloyd Webber Theatre Company allowed him to immerse himself in the performing arts, strengthening his interest in the field. This artistic passion led to the founding of Ardent Productions, a television production company that reflected his commitment to merging creativity with public service. This decision marked a departure from the conventional paths of his siblings and reinforced Edward's determination to chart his own course. Buckingham Palace remained central to Edward's life, serving as a hub for his royal engagements and personal milestones. Whether hosting receptions, attending official events, or fulfilling ceremonial roles, the palace symbolized his dual identity as both a royal figure and a family member. However, as he matured and established his own household with Sophie, Countess of Wessex, Edward transitioned to Bagshot Park. This new residence offered him a blend of privacy and proximity to his royal duties. Edward's childhood was not without challenges, particularly in his relationship with his elder brother Andrew. According to royal biographer Ingrid Seward, Andrew's domineering behavior often overshadowed Edward during their early years. Known for his energetic nature and frequent tantrums, Andrew reportedly bullied Edward and displayed competitive tendencies. While Andrew's loud frustrations often drew attention, Edward, described as a sweet and well-mannered child, internalized his emotions, remaining silent and visibly upset in moments of conflict. Despite these struggles, Edward eventually emerged from Andrew's shadow, distinguishing himself academically and socially at Gordonstoun. He excelled in sports, drama, and leadership, becoming head boy and securing a place on the cricket first 11 team. This success differed significantly from Andrew's more erratic path, characterized by his spirited nature and eventual decision to pursue a military career in the Navy. Edward's achievements reflected his quiet determination and ability to carve out his own identity within the royal family. Though Edward initially considered following a military path by joining the Royal Marines, he ultimately chose to withdraw from officer training after 4 months. This decision, while controversial, highlighted his desire to forge a life that balanced public duties with personal fulfillment. His subsequent endeavors in the arts and media demonstrated his commitment to pursuing his passions even within the constraints of royal expectations. Edward's life exemplifies the complexities of growing up as a member of the British royal family. Surrounded by privilege and expectation, he navigated the challenges of public scrutiny while striving to maintain his individuality. His journey from a reserved and introspective child to a confident and accomplished royal demonstrates a unique blend of resilience and adaptability. While his path diverged from that of his siblings, it reflects his unwavering dedication to both his personal interests and his royal responsibilities. The challenges Edward faced, including his strained relationship with Andrew and the pressures of royal life, only served to shape his character further. His ability to rise above these obstacles and embrace a distinctive role within the royal family portrays his determination to balance tradition with innovation. However, this characteristic also extends down to his marriage and family life away from public scrutiny. Prince Edward, Duke of Edinburgh, and his wife, Sophie, Duchess of Edinburgh, have remained steadfast in their loyalty to the crown. Their commitment has always been evident, particularly through the late Queen Elizabeth II's immense respect for them. Despite the significant roles they hold within the royal family, they have consistently worked hard to shield their personal lives from public scrutiny. This deliberate effort to maintain privacy has made them less prominent in the public eye compared to other high-profile members of the royal family. However, Edward's life is far from a mystery. Over the years, he has embraced greater responsibilities and cemented his position as a vital figure within the royal framework. His personal history is filled with intriguing and multifaceted elements, including whispers of sibling rivalries, debates over royal titles, and a strained rapport with the media. These details provide a deeper understanding of the complex layers behind a man often misjudged or overlooked. With his reserved demeanor, Edward has managed to walk the delicate line between royal duty, personal tradition, and a strong desire for privacy. One of the most visible aspects of royal responsibility involves engaging with the public. Traditionally, members of the royal family connect with their subjects during formal events, often greeting them with a handshake. This personal interaction, known as a walkabout, gained popularity under Queen Elizabeth II, who believed it was an essential way to foster a closer relationship with the public. Over time, this practice became a hallmark of royal engagements, with figures like Princess Diana and Kate Middleton wholeheartedly embracing it. Edward, however, has chosen to redefine this tradition with a distinctive approach. Although he regularly waves to crowds and engages in conversations, he notably avoids shaking hands during such events. His reasoning abstaining from handshakes is both practical and reflective of Edward's unique philosophy. It allows him to interact with more people within the limited time available. This choice demonstrates his efficiency-driven mindset while respecting the tradition of public engagement. It emphasizes his preference for prioritizing meaningful exchanges over following expectations, further highlighting his individuality within the royal family. Edward's personal life, particularly his relationship with Sophie, also illustrates his pursuit of balance and discretion. Their story began in 1987 when they first met at Capital Radio, where Sophie worked in public relations. Years later, their paths crossed again when Sophie took on the role of managing publicity for a charity tennis event Edward was organizing. Their bond gradually strengthened, leading to a romantic relationship that they carefully kept away from the public eye. However, as the media inevitably uncovered their connection, Edward directly addressed the press, appealing for privacy and expressing his wish to protect Sophie from the intrusive coverage that often accompanies royal relationships. Once their relationship became public knowledge, Sophie began accompanying Edward to royal engagements. The couple resisted external pressures to hasten their engagement, taking 6 years to get married, a decision influenced by Edward's desire to avoid the challenges and mistakes faced by his older siblings in their relationships. In his younger years, Edward's efforts to safeguard his privacy sometimes led to misunderstandings. A rare television interview he gave about his relationship with Sophie, intended to calm public speculation, left some viewers with a negative perception. His firm statements about valuing privacy were interpreted by certain segments of the audience as overly blunt or even arrogant. In one instance, when asked about his plans to propose, Edward responded candidly, telling reporters to mind their own business. This thoughtful and measured approach reflected Edward's deep commitment to establishing a strong and stable foundation for their future. While his frustration with invasive questions was understandable, his direct tone alienated some members of the public. Nevertheless, these early struggles did not deter Edward from pursuing a life that harmonizes tradition with personal values. His evolution within the royal family has been shaped by his unwavering commitment to duty and his determination to carve out a personal identity away from the overwhelming spotlight. The unique approach he takes, balancing his role as a dedicated royal with his deep respect for privacy, paints a picture of a man who, while reserved, is far from ordinary. His choices and actions reveal a thoughtful and methodical individual navigating the complexities of royal life with an enduring sense of purpose and quiet resolve. Throughout his life, Edward has continued to balance his royal duties with his personal aspirations. His choices reveal a consistent desire to define his own role within the monarchy. While he may not always follow the traditional mold, Edward's understated approach and commitment to his responsibilities have earned him a unique place in the royal family's legacy. On March 10, 2023, Prince Edward and his wife Sophie made their first public appearance as the Duke and Duchess of Edinburgh, stepping into their new roles with a blend of grace and determination. This significant event took place outside Edinburgh's city chambers, where the couple met members of the Ukrainian community. Their public debut in these titles was met with enthusiasm from royal fans who admired their poise and commitment. However, their appearance also ignited a wave of speculation and concern regarding Prince Edward's health. Observers couldn't help but notice that Edward appeared markedly thinner, prompting widespread discussion. Social media, a platform known for its rapid spread of public sentiment, amplified these concerns. Some users wondered aloud if Edward's noticeable weight loss could be attributed to an underlying illness, while others speculated about potential stress or grief, particularly given the emotional toll of losing both of his parents in a relatively short span. The heightened focus on his physical appearance fueled numerous theories, though no official sources have confirmed that Edward is facing health issues. Buckingham Palace reportedly offered reassurances to the German publication Bunty, insisting that everything was fine, but skeptics pointed out the lack of concrete evidence to substantiate these claims. The titles bestowed upon Edward were steeped in tradition and emotional resonance. On the occasion of his 59th birthday in March 2023, King Charles granted Edward the title of Duke of Edinburgh, a role that carried immense symbolic weight, having been held by their late father, Prince Philip, for more than 7 decades. This inheritance was not only a reflection of familial bonds but also a fulfillment of a long-standing wish expressed by the late Duke himself. Despite this, the journey to securing the title was far from straightforward. Reportedly, there had been initial hesitation from King Charles, who had entertained the idea of reserving the title for his granddaughter, Princess Charlotte, as part of his broader vision to modernize and streamline the monarchy. This proposal, aimed at reflecting a more contemporary approach, was said to have disappointed Edward, who had been a steadfast supporter of his elder brother through various challenges, including controversies surrounding their sibling, Prince Andrew. Ultimately, Charles chose to honor Edward by granting him the title. However, speculation remains that arrangements may have been made for the title to revert to the crown after Edward's passing rather than being passed on to his son James, now the Earl of Wessex. Edward's earlier choice of titles adds an intriguing layer to his story. On his wedding day in 1999, he made the unconventional decision to forego a dukedom in favor of becoming the Earl of Wessex. This decision, reportedly inspired by the character Lord Wessex from the film Shakespeare in Love, highlighted Edward's unique approach to royal life. The Queen, demonstrating her understanding of his wishes, granted his request, making him the first of her sons not to hold a dukedom at the time of his marriage. The early years of Edward and Sophie's marriage were marked by a balance between private careers and royal duties. However, by 2002, they transitioned fully into royal roles during the Queen's Golden Jubilee year. This shift allowed both to channel their efforts into causes close to their hearts. Sophie focused on programs aimed at empowering women and supporting children, while Edward cultivated a strong association with the arts through his various patronages. As the Duke and Duchess of Edinburgh, their responsibilities have grown, encompassing both traditional and contemporary elements of royal service. Edward's efforts to honor the legacy of Prince Philip are evident as he embraces initiatives that reflect his father's values while simultaneously charting his own course within the royal framework. Sophie's steadfast support has only reinforced their image as a dedicated and harmonious couple. Over time, public perceptions of Edward and Sophie have evolved significantly. Their unwavering commitment to their roles, combined with their enduring marriage, has earned them widespread respect and admiration. What once might have been seen as a fierce defense of personal autonomy now appears as a balance between public obligation and private principles. Their journey illustrates the complexities of living under the unrelenting gaze of the public while striving to remain true to their values. This chapter in their lives portrays not only their adaptability but also their dedication to the monarchy. The couple continues to navigate their responsibilities with dignity and determination, forging a path that honors the past while embracing the future. Their story serves as a reminder of the challenges and triumphs of modern royal life, revealing both the sacrifices and the resilience required to fulfill their roles.